My name is Claristina. I'm 26 years old. I discovered I was HIV positive in 2005. Then I was 11 years old. My parents died with HIV-related illnesses. 2002, my dad died. 2003, my mom died. I was born positive in 1993. So it's my uncle who took me to the hospital to be started on ARVs. At that time, I was started on Septrin first for some few months. Then I was started on ARVs eventually. So we are two, myself and my sister. My sister, of course, is HIV negative. I'm the last born. The HIV virus is just there, but it doesn't define who I am. I got to really understand what HIV was from the community. You hear people saying, unde ule mamake alikufa, you know, mamake alikufa na ukimwi. And when it is said in my mother tongue, it really sounds so stigmatizing. At that time, I was now growing into my adolescent, stage. At some point, I got a comment like, you know, you don't disturb people with school fees issues, yet you will die. So I was like, oh, okay, I will die. So it's this serious. When I went to stay with my grandmother at some point, I was just there waiting for myself to die because my health was also a bit not good because of the adherence issues. I was not taking my drugs like regularly. I would take this time, not take the other time. I didn't see the seriousness at that time. We passed through a lot of challenges. Sometimes we have nothing to eat, but I still have to take my drugs in the morning and in the evening. I remember my grandmother telling me my granddaughter, just swallow. And that's why I came up with the hashtag Monya Monya. Monya Monya means, it's a Luo word that means, just swallow my grandchild. Because she knew what happens if I don't take my drugs, I get sick, and she gets stressed up as well. So in high school, it was not easy for me. The stigma that comes with taking your drugs in school was really harsh on me. Sometimes I get sick because my school was very cold. I want to put on an extra sweater. I want to, I get attacked sometimes with some diseases because of maybe my immune system at that time was deteriorating. Sometimes when we used to come to school, then you're checked at the gate if you're carrying legals. I remember a day when a groundsman came and poured out all my ARVs in front of all other students. And it was so stigmatizing for me. And I felt so bad. So at some point, I even went for drug holiday. When I say drug holiday, I mean I decided just to stop taking my drugs because I attempted suicide at some point. And I was sent home for 2 weeks. I attempted suicide because I was feeling like I'm a burden to other people. I'm feeling like, now why me? I'm tired of taking these drugs. I'm tired of lying every day that it is my chest that is painful. My chest, every time my fellow students wananiuliza, hizi dawa unameza kila siku ni za nini? So now I keep on saying, it's my chest. You know, if I don't take them, it's my chest. So sometimes I get depressed. I just feel like, no, I'm tired. There's a parent who withdrew their children from me because I'm HIV positive. Their parents, I was actually an example that parents use to their children. That ukiendelea kuja hapa home late, ama ukiendelea kufanya hivi, uta end up tu kama Tina. Unaona Tina kona ukimwi sahi. How the community takes people living with HIV is a great deal. Actually for them, anyone who is HIV positive, because I remember when I was still in high school Form 1, I used to go from school kwenda kuchukua dawa hospitali. Then they still know this program wa adolescent center. Tuko tunakaa pamoja na watu wakubwa. Then nimekaa hapo na unasikia wazee wanasema, hata huyu mtoto mdogo ameanza hizi vitu. I'm like, okay, I feel like I want to explain to them. But nowadays, I owe no one an explanation as to how I got my HIV.
I'm Winnie Goreti. I'm 21 years of age. I'm living with HIV virus and I've been in ARVs for like 6 years now. I was defiled at the age of 7. That's after the death of my parents, but I did not know that through that defilement I could turn out to be someone living with HIV virus. I came to know my status at class 8. I was 14 years of age. I was coming from school, going home for lunch, and I met Impact Research, the ones that normally erect tents. They were doing HIV tests. So I just went in to know my status, and on my surprise that the result turned out to be positive. So I was referred to Tungane, where I was told that I was supposed to go start my medication. And being that I did not accept that my status was positive, I did not report to Tungane. I just went home. I did not even share with anyone at home. I went and did my KCPE, knowing that you are positive. At the same time, you are also supposed to be focusing on reversing for the exam was really difficult. In Form 1, I was frequently in and out of school. This one doctor who advised me now, if there's no malaria and typhoid, let's do HIV test. Nikasema it's okay. So after the test, it was positive. I left him there with the test. I did not go back in that office. Nikaenda home. Reaching home, I did not even tell my brother or my in-law. The third time again, I went for my eye checkup. And again, Apple, I was kind of weak. They also did a test. And the third time, the test turned out to be positive. That's how I started taking the ARV, that in 2014, when I was in Form 1 second term, and up to date, I've been on ARVs. How did I get infected with the virus? But again, I flashed back like, maybe it's through the defilement that the results turn out to be positive. The person who defiled me, I only had the news that he passed on. My fear was how I was going to address my brother at home. Like, you know, I was staying with our firstborn, and by that time he was that, unajua tu firstborn when anakuwa strict on au wadogo. What was I going to tell my brother, like I'm positive? Angeniuliza umepata the virus aje? So I used to address my brother through my sister-in-law, because I was close to my sister-in-law sana, and she was the first person to know I was HIV positive. They were giving me that support that I needed. The family stigma, I did not experience it at all. Sister-in-law aliniekea di alarm. So ingefika to 8, your drugs. And I was like, najua inafaa nimeze dawa. Nilikuwa naona like she was too much on me, not knowing that alikuwa ananisaidia by that time. When I started experiencing the stigma in high school, it was hell for me. Nilikuwa naenda shule na I take permission from the school to go to the clinic and pick my drugs. Nikirudi shuleni nazilock kwa loka. So the student became suspicious, like every month Goreti lazima aende hospitali. Kumbe kwa class, they were trying to find a way ya kuvunja loka na kupata the drugs. Wakapata dawa na I think they knew what the drugs were. Instead of asking me, now wakaanza ku spread the news kwa shule. So ilikuwa inani make uncomfortable. Umejua in high school kuna that girls group, mnatembea pamoja humwa. So mostly tukienda lunch nilikuwa naona like kila mtu amechukua tu plate. Sasa zingine nawaambia simngoje tuenda, hapana, si tunaenda tu tuko na haraka. Ile yenye they were trying to avoid me being one of them, me being in their group. Saa zingine tumeambiwa sit in a group of maybe 5 or 6. Unaona hii group, unaona tu group wako 4 na ukienda to make them 5 wanakuambia kuna mwingine anakuja, na unaona watu wako tu kwa class watu wote. In Form 4, ilipata kama I was that strong. I knew much more about HIV and AIDS, how to end stigma, and the stigma was not there anymore. In 2018 January, I attended a certain conference in Siaya, and after that conference, when nilitoka, I decided like, what if I post about my status on Facebook, or what if I come out as someone living with HIV virus on Facebook? How will people take it? And I was thinking about it. Then I decided to post on Facebook. With the negative comments, they gave me that strength to come out and even be more vocal on my status. Being that I faced that stigma in high school, so mostly I visit high school and colleges and university, share my own experience, because I believe it's not only me that passed through that. There's also this young girl that is also passing through the same in school.
ARVs never forgive. If you don't take them, it will dawn on you. Hata kama it will take how many years, it will dawn on you. In 2016, when I joined college first year, it actually started showing, you know, the opportunistic infections that come with not taking your ARVs on time, or your immune system is now, you know, not okay. I started having herpes. If you look at my hand, you're able to see some spots. I started, you know, coughing, sick on and off. And now my doctor kept talking to me, telling me, we need to change your drugs to a second-line regimen. I said, no, you can't change my drugs, because if you change, I'll die. That's my mentality. When I finally agreed to change, I was okay in 3 months. There's this one time that I typed my story, my whole story, the way it started until the end, then I posted. Switched off my phone and waited for the next morning to see people's reaction. When I woke up that morning to very dirty comments, I broke down. I got stressed, and my sister was like, you see, I told you you're going to get stressed with this. Now see. But I talked to other friends of mine who were together in support groups. We are this together, and they told me, you know what, if you've decided to go out there and tell people, just go, but you have to develop a thick skin. I get a lot of bullets, but yes, I usually say there's someone who is watching, there's someone who is getting encouraged. And each time I feel low and I want to deactivate, I get messages from people, you know, thanking me. I decided that this is the platform I'm going to use, because there are youth here. I love modeling, so I became Miss Kisumu National Polytechnic that year. Any man that was seen walking with me, hey, unatembea na Miss Poly, ebu enda ujitest. Enda ujitest. People believe that if you're walking with someone, you're actually engaging in sexual activities with them. People are still not aware that there are other means of transmission. There's mother to child at birth or during breastfeeding. There's there's through sexual intercourse. But still, we don't need to stigmatize anyone because of how they got their HIV. In this era, there is no child who is supposed to be born HIV, and that's my soft spot. I'm just hoping I won't get emotional with this, but it really pains me and gets to me when a child is born positive, because it's so hard. Like sometimes I feel like maybe getting HIV when you're growing is easier to handle than when you're born with it, because parents go through a lot trying to disclose to their children. There are a lot of things that have been put in place right now, that a child who turns positive is negligent. We have the prophylaxis that children, when they're given birth, they're supposed to be given. These women need to be empowered. Before I came out as someone who is HIV, I mean living with HIV, I will still get men hitting on me even right now, people who don't know me. And in the process, you tell them that you're HIV positive. Wamengangana, like every night unapigiwa simu, sasa twende out, nini nini. Hiyo time bado unacheza chini. Then kidogo kidogo umedisclose hivi. Sasa ile the phone calls zina reduce. Then now you're the one who is starting to look for him, like unamtumia message ajibu, calls zako ashiki. Kufukuzae kwa mbi toka. Me usually mi najitoa tu. At some point I feel like the community should really change their perspective, how they look at people who are living with HIV.
There's this one guy who came to me, nikamwambia I'm positive, and akaniambia, I know you're just telling me that to chase me away or to send me away, but I'm here to stay. You know, something like that. Wengine ukiwaambia you are positive, wanasema unadanganya, wewe unakaa mtu wako positive. So my question normally is like, when you wako positive wanakaa aje?
I'm passionate about young people and adolescents, especially who are HIV positive, because I think there's a gap. At least 80% of these adolescents don't have parents. And people they stay with are busy. They are very busy people that they don't have time with the adolescents. The wildly growing graph of adolescents who are getting reinfected, I feel like I can be part of the solution to curb the new infections. Basically, this organization, I started it in 2019, around March. We have 45 adolescents. They are identifying with themselves. They want to try new things, not knowing. Maybe in their head they're imagining, you're positive, I'm also positive. So, I mean, there's nothing we are protecting. Yet, they don't know that there's something called reinfection. If you're HIV positive and I'm HIV positive, when we have sex, sometimes, especially if they're not taking the ARVs well, there's going to be a reinfection that causes resistance from the ARVs that they're using.
That's the right to obtain by it, but
sometimes an adolescent who is HIV positive infects another adolescent who is HIV negative, and in the process they get infected. Who mwenye amemu-infect just keeps quiet as if nothing has happened. The other one that has been infected doesn't know anything. So she stays there for so long, doesn't talk to anyone about it, starts getting sick. Before you know it, they're HIV positive. Things that they can't discuss with their parents, you know. They confide in us, we discuss it and advise them in a best way possible. You do pill counts, you realize this adolescent did not take their drugs. They missed a pill or two. Then you ask them, why did you miss a pill or two? Ati nilisahau, or maybe ati sikukwa nyumbani. Some excuses for not taking their ARVs. And I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't even shout at them because I know that was me when I was that age. Uki dig deep, una find that this adolescent is losing hope, amechoka kumeza dawa, or maybe and I feel like, let me just die. Why me? The wristwatch is ARVs on time, because ARVs have to be taken on time. They set the alarm at 7 a.m. Ikifika 7 a.m, the wristwatch will be at least 600 have benefited from the wristwatch program. Some parents don't want to disclose. They come to us to disclose, to have an assisted disclosure. At least now we are removing that notion that now I'm HIV positive and I will die. No, at least they have even vision for themselves.
These young people hope by speaking out and sharing their stories, they can help the world be a more understanding place for those who are afraid to speak about having HIV, so they can let go of the shame and feel comfortable in their own skin.
Right now we are concentrating on corona so much that we forgot about HIV that is not seated somewhere waiting for corona to end. It is still there, it is still replicating. So even as we mitigate the corona thing, we also need to know that we still have condoms that have to be used, and they are effective. We still have PrEP that needs to be used, especially for the married discordant couples. And the youth need to know that, I'm sorry to say this, but there's a way the youth think when they're almost in a relationship and they're in love and they trust each other. Mi nakutrust, wewe huwezi kuwa nayo. That notion should just end. Right now we have self-test kits everywhere in the public hospital. Why don't they go take the self-test kits and take the tests? Just take the tests. I know before they were fearing that you go there, you get friend ya mamako amekaa pale. But today, you'll enjoy the process of getting tested. So there's nothing to fear.
If you are in the same scenario with I was the file, how can I go infect someone who is negative with that phrase like nilipewa mi pia lazima nipenane? All of us are living with the virus unless you are tested positive and negative. And that's why I'll say I'm Winnie Goretti, I'm HIV positive. And you'll say you are so and so HIV negative.